Thank you. So let's start this Srimad Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 45, text 45 through 50, which is the end of this chapter. So I'll read the Sanskrit and translations. I'll read the Sanskrit of just the first verse. So this is 10:45:45. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Guru Putram Iha Nitam Nija Karma Nibandhanam Anas Anayasva Maharaja Machasana Puruskrita. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, suffering the bondage of his past activity, my spiritual master's son was brought here to you, O great king. Obey my command and bring this boy to me without delay. Text 46. Yamaraj said, so be it, and brought forth the Guru's son. Then those two exalted Yadus presented the boy to their spiritual master and said to him, please select another boon. Text 47. The spiritual master said, my dear boys, you two have completely fulfilled the disciple's obligation toward his spiritual master. Indeed, with disciples like you, what further desires could a guru have? And then text 48. O heroes, now please return home. May your fame sanctify the world, and may the Vedic hymns be ever fresh in your minds, both in this life and the next. Okay, sorry, that's not the last one. There's two more. Thus, receiving their guru's permission to leave, the two lords returned to their city on their chariot, which moved as swiftly as the wind and resounded like a cloud. All the citizens rejoiced upon seeing Krishna and Balaram, whom they had not seen for many days. The people felt just like those who have lost their wealth and then regained it. Thus ends the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the 10th canto, 45th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Krishna Rescues His Teacher's Son. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamshta. Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam. Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam. Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamshta. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vanchakalpatarubhyashta kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So again, thank you everyone. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. So there was actually no purports for these verses, but I thought that one of the verses actually stood out to me was the one where they talk about the this guru and disciple. So as you probably heard in this story, what happens is that Krishna and Balaram go to retrieve the son of their guru, Sandipani Muni. And so they first come to into the ocean, and then they say, okay, he's not there. And then they go to Yamaraj, and Yamaraj is able to give the son back to Krishna and Balaram, and then they deliver that son to their guru. So the spiritual master says, "My dear boys, you two have completely fulfilled the disciple's obligation to reward his spiritual master. Indeed, with disciples like you, what further desires could a guru have?" So that made me think about, what does it mean to be a disciple? Now we see in the Bhagavad Gita that when Krishna and Arjuna are on the battlefield, Arjuna comes to the center of the battlefield, and he's friends with Krishna. The disciple guru disciple relationship is not established yet, and as we know, Arjuna is distressed. The Gandiva is falling from his shoulder. He has no idea what to do, and in that same way, in the same time, he says, "Shishyasteham sadhivam tan prapannam." Now I am a disciple. Now I'm a soul surrendered unto you. You tell me what to do. So this is an example for us that how we should approach a spiritual master. We should approach with a kind of a what's the word? Exhaustion of material life. When we're that's when we can actually take shelter of the spiritual master. When we're exhausted in exhausted in material nature, material life, with everything that's going on in our material life, when an exhausted person, then they'll be able to take shelter of the spiritual master. So Arjuna's mood was, now instruct me, Krishna. So we always hear about bona fide spiritual masters, right? We always hear about that. Well, who is a bona fide spiritual master? But I would like to also give another perspective. What about a bona fide disciple? That's even more difficult, I think, in some ways. What is the characteristics of a proper disciple? What is the duty of a disciple? For one thing, it's a very tall order to be a proper disciple. Because what does that mean to be a proper disciple? Body, mind, words, these are all dedicated and used in the service of the spiritual master. That's not easy to do. Like when one first takes initiation, initiation is the beginning of spiritual life. Sometimes we think that when there's a big fanfare and there's a big celebration, we think that it's some type of graduation from something. It actually is not true. Taking initiation from the spiritual master is the beginning of spiritual life. And what does that mean? It means that divine knowledge is transferred onto the disciple. As Jiva Goswami says in the Bhakti Sandarbha, Divya Jnana, he says, Divya Jnana yato dadyat, that the during that when divine knowledge is transferred, that's called diksha. That's called initiation. So then that's sort of a tangent, but going back to the duties of a disciple, Srila Prabhupada talks about the duties of a disciple so many times in various purports and various books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. I just wanted to bring forth a few quotes here which illustrate what point I'm trying to make. This is from the second canto. Following the order of the bona fide spiritual master is the only duty of the disciple, and this completely faithful execution of the order of the bona fide spiritual master is the secret of success. Just like when we sing in the morning, the Guru Vashtakam prayers, we sing, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, that pleasing the spiritual master is pleasing Krishna. The faithful execution of the instruction which he receives from the spiritual master is the only duty of a disciple, and that will bring him perfection. One should be very careful to receive the message from the spiritual master through the ears and execute it faithfully. That will make one's life successful. That's from the third canto, 22nd chapter, 7th verse. It is the duty of the disciple to take charge of the mission of the spiritual master and execute it properly. Otherwise, the disciple should decide to die along with the spiritual master. In other words, to execute the will of the spiritual master, the disciple should be prepared to lay down his life and abandon all personal considerations. As I said earlier, that's a very tall order to what Srila Prabhupada is saying here, to lay down one's life and abandon all personal considerations. That's what it means to take on Krishna consciousness and to take on spiritual life, that one becomes surrendered. One has to surrender unto the spiritual master. Otherwise, what is the use of actually taking initiation and taking into spiritual life? And as I said, it's the beginning of spiritual life, and it's always going to be a struggle. One has to be okay with that struggle. I remember when I was living in the ashram, in the brahmachari ashram, they were always preaching that to the brahmacharis, that you have to be okay with the struggle of monk life, of brahmachari life. And that really stuck with me. And that kind of transferred on to what does it mean to be a disciple? Be okay with that struggle of Krishna consciousness, that we have to, like someone who's taking a shower, like someone who's trying to get clean, they're taking a shower. You can't criticize that person for not being clean. They're in the process of taking a shower, becoming clean. So in the same way, we are in this process of Krishna consciousness. We're on the path. And so our duty is to stay on this path and to take on that struggle and be comfortable in that struggle. I hope that makes sense. Let's continue to read some of these quotes here. Then it's in the sixth canto, talking about the example of the Haryashvas. The Haryashvas were the sons of Daksha, and they were preached to by Narad Muni, as is many examples in the Srimad Bhagavatam that we can see, where there's the example of the guru and disciple relationship. Narad Muni has many times where he's gone to different places and instructed many people, and this is the lessons that we can take. And so he instructed the Haryashvas to basically renounce everything. That's a different story, but in this verse, it says, from this verse, we can understand the meaning of initiation, the duties of a disciple and spiritual master. The spiritual master never instructs a disciple, quote, take a mantra from me, pay me some money, and by practicing this yoga system, you will become very expert in materialistic life. This is not the duty of a spiritual master. Rather, the spiritual master teaches the disciple how to give up materialistic life. And the disciple's duty is to assimilate his instructions and ultimately follow the path back home, back to Godhead, from whence no one returns to this material world. So this is illustrating that the guru doesn't say, pay me some money, take this mantra, and you'll be better in your materialistic life. No, that's not what the guru does. What the guru says is, give up materialistic life. Follow these instructions. That's coming from the parampara, the disciplic succession. Give up materialistic life and perfect your life. And the duty of the disciple is to assimilate those instructions, put those instructions in your life. The guru doesn't necessarily tell you what to think. The guru tells you how to think. Sorry, I think I messed that one up. Yes, the guru doesn't tell you what to think, but how to think. So in this same quote, assimilating his instructions. Okay, the instructions are there to do X, Y, Z. How to accomplish those things? The disciple used to use their intelligence to accomplish those tasks that the guru gives. In this case, what are the instructions? Become Krishna conscious. How are we going to become Krishna conscious? Krishna conscious, that's up to us. The instructions have been laid down, and how to follow those instructions, that's up to us to do. Reading on here, according to the instructions of Vishnu, this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. According to the instruction of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it is a duty of disciple to follow strictly the orders of his spiritual master. The secret of success and advancement in spiritual life is the firm faith of the disciple in the order of his spiritual master. This is the secret of success. When we follow very strictly, because when we see spiritual masters, we also see that they themselves are actually perfect disciples. When we talk about this perfect spiritual master, we also understand that they are the perfect disciple. We see in the example of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was not only Jagat Guru, but he was also a perfect disciple of his spiritual master. He followed his instruction, this instruction of his spiritual master, very seriously and very carefully, and executed it with perfection. And you know what? He didn't meet Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur very much. Sometimes we think that we have to be always in the proximity of the guru. There's two types of the forms of the guru. There's the vapu, which is the physical body and the physical proximity of the guru. And then there's the vani. Vani means the instructions. And we know in the Shastra that the vani is considered to be more important than the vapu. So, of course, it is wonderful to be in the proximity of the spiritual master. But we see as I said in the example of Srila Prabhupada, that the spiritual proximity, not the physical proximity, the spiritual proximity of the Vani, Srila Prabhupada really exemplifies that, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, the instructions given by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur were probably a handful of times. Okay, when the first time he met him, go preach into the English countries. That's what impressed Srila Prabhupada about him. Then, furthermore, if you get money, print books. So these are not that Srila Prabhupada had so much association, but even in the later years, even when he came to America, he would always say, I don't ever feel separated from my spiritual master. I always feel that he's with me. Because why? He felt that instruction. That instruction was with him always. And you know what? I'm actually preaching to myself here, because I feel that I haven't fully realized all these different things that I'm speaking about. And for me to hear them again from myself is really, really nice, because I mean, what better person to preach to you than yourself, right? I mean, that's the person you have full control over in one sense. Let's continue reading some of these quotes. It is the duty of a disciple approaching a spiritual master to inquire about his constitutional position. This is from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. This is about Sanatan Goswami and the conversation with him and Lord Chaitanya. I mean, that reminds me the approaching of a spiritual master. In the Bhagavad Gita, there's a famous verse about how one should approach the spiritual master. 434. Tadvidi pranipatina pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. What are the three things listed here in relation to the spiritual master? Pranipatena, pariprashnena, and sevaya. Inquiring submissively from the spiritual master, approaching the spiritual master, and serving the spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Reading that purport, the path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. Again, that point, the disciplic succession means that the guru is a disciple himself. I think sometimes we forget that. We only think of the guru as the guru, but if we kind of change our perspective and think the guru is also is a disciple of his guru, that might help us think, oh, how does a disciple act? Because that example is given. Acharya means one who lives by who gives their example, and so the acharya is also a disciple of his guru. Continue reading on. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. The Bhagavatam says, Dharmam tushaksha bhagavat pranitam, the path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Okay, then it says, one has to approach a bona fide spiritual master, receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Okay, here's the kicker. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual advancement. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. It's not always that we think of, okay, to take initiation, you have to wait a certain amount of time. You have to observe the guru. You have to observe the disciple. You have to do XYZ things, and then you can become initiated. It's not only goes that way, but it also goes the other way. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, it talks about how the disciple should also observe the spiritual master to see if it is a good fit, to observe their character. And one does not only take initiation from the spiritual master because of reasons that are external. Oh, I like the way this person looks at me. Oh, I like the way this person sings. Oh, I like the way this person laughs. These are not the characteristics when approaching a spiritual master. What are the characteristics? What does the Shastra say about that? There's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 11th canto, 3rd chapter, 21st text is a very famous one. Tasmad gurum prapadyeta jigyashu shreya uttamam shabde parecha nishnatam brahmani upashamashayam. Therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. That first line is very important. If you're desirous of real happiness, if you're into material life, this is not for you. If you're content with material life, this isn't for you. So don't even read forward. But let's read forward because we're all work in progress, right? The qualification of a bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. It says right there, the qualification of a bona fide spiritual master. What are the two things? He has realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberation. He has deliberated on his own, and he's able to convince others of these conclusions. So those are the characteristics we should look for if you have not approached a spiritual master or found your spiritual master as of yet. That's why we use Shastra for determining things like this. Such an important thing as finding a spiritual master has to be determined by has to be used with the guide of the scriptures. The text goes on further. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual masters. That is a nice purport. Also, I'll read a little bit of it. Without scriptural knowledge and practical realization of the personality of Godhead, a so-called guru will be unable to dissipate the doubts of his disciple, and therefore unable to execute the function of bringing the sincere student back home, back to Godhead. The symptom of realized understanding of the Vedas and Krishna is upashramashrayam. In other words, the bona fide spiritual master is one who has retired from the glittering illusions of materialistic society, friendship, and love.
Namarasa Prabhu, can I have a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
When we look at our gurus that we can choose from, they all seem to pass those tests. They all speak according to Shastra. They all dissipate our doubts. And they're all disciples, loyal to Srila Prabhupada and surrendered to him. So how do we choose from there? Understanding that they all pass the test of Shastra. So how do we choose from there? Are there any further criteria that we can follow, like the way they smile, for example, or look at us?
I mean, that might be secondary things. That might be secondary things. But the primary things are those. I guess another point is that it's not about just choosing, because one can have one Diksha guru. One can have only one Diksha guru, but one can have infinite amount of Shiksha gurus. So, okay, you might like maybe 3 of them, but one might stand out to you as one that inspires you from your heart, that I actually want to follow this person. I feel very much connected with this person. And so one has to kind of really be self-reflective of their intentions. And of course, everyone, like you said, might be portraying those characteristics, but I feel like one will stand out. And it's not a harm if one stands out and you still feel the same about others, because they can also be Shiksha gurus. Shiksha and Diksha is on the same level, actually. It's not that one is higher than the other. They're both equal. Shiksha actually it's sometimes more important, because Shiksha means the instructing spiritual master. Of course, in sometimes the Diksha and Shiksha gurus are the same person. The prominent Shiksha guru is also the Diksha guru. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes the Shiksha guru is more prominent, because what does the Shiksha mean? You're not doing this correctly. I'm observing what you're doing, dear disciple, and you're not doing this correctly, and you should do this. That is very, very valuable in the life of a life of a disciple. When someone is able to call you out on something. Yes, live to be corrected. That's wonderful. I love that. So let me just tie up here, and then we can discuss. So the conclusion I'm bringing here, or the main point that I'm trying to come across here, is that let's try to deliberate on what it means to be a proper disciple. And if you're not a disciple yet, I mean, in some ways, we're all disciples. We're all Shiksha disciples of Srila Prabhupada, because he's the preeminent Shiksha guru. But we should, when we talk about bona fide spiritual master, there's a lot of talk about that, but we should also talk about the bona fide disciple. What are the characteristics of disciple? And understanding that the guru is also a disciple. So seeing that in that perspective is really important. So I mean, that's the point I wanted to come across here. If anyone has any discussion, I see Bhima Prabhu has raised his hand. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, Bhima Prabhu has to stop the tractor, has to get down. Let's give him some time. Adi?
Lucas, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Guru is a functional definition. A lit candle is lit, it's giving off heat and light. And if that lit candle touches another candle that isn't lit, that other candle begins to give off heat and light. Who do I go to when I have a doubt? Who is encouraging me? Who do I look up to? Who do I? It's not just some artificial academic. Who is giving me direction, inspiration, strength, courage. You know, and you see that in someone, and you're drawn to that, and they help you, they nourish you, they encourage you, and you'll hear Krishna speaking to you through that person. And it's based on my desire to have someone in my life who's worthy of my complete trust and obedience. If I want that quality of person, Krishna will send. And then we find ourselves taking shelter. We find ourselves wanting to assist that person. We find that ourselves, that person lifting us up when there's a doubt. Functional definition. This is happening. I know this is happening when I speak with this person. I believe that this person is sincere. I trust this person. It's based on love and trust, right? These may
Yes.
be big characteristics. And you spoke very clearly about Vani and Vapu and want to be a menial servant of the spiritual master. Haryashvas, how many were there? 2,000 Haryashvas?
I think 10,000.
10,000? So they were inspired by Narada Muni not to just pursue material indulgence. And then they all brought him a glass of water, so he had 10,000 glasses of water. And he said, "Don't be ridiculous. I don't need 10,000 water. I'm asking you to preach. I'm asking you to give what I gave to you to someone else." When they asked Prabhupada, "We see that you want us to be Krishna conscious." He said, "No." The Babaji on Radhakund for years and decades is chanting, he's being Krishna conscious, but if you want to be my disciple, I want you to give Krishna consciousness. Chant 16 rounds and then vigorously preach. If you want to be my disciple, I want you to give Krishna consciousness, not just be Krishna conscious. Anyway, these are details, and we've heard, so we're repeating. Well, glory to Prabhupada. Sorry to take up so much time.
Thank you, Prabhu. Any other questions or comments?
I think Bhima Prabhu is ready.
Yeah, I put away my wheelbarrow. That's full of what I'm full of usually. Anyways, I would just, Adi did, of course, express the point that Krishna sends Guru. I know that nothing has ever happened in my life, spiritually speaking, that, some people not achieve, but some people are born into spirituality, like you're born into the movement, you got a head start. Some people attain spirituality. They're seekers. They're curious. And some people have it thrust upon them. And so I was like the latter. I sort of like stumbled into it. And then I was surrounded with a person I could not deny. That would be Guru Maharaj. And of course, Prabhupada. And I just feel that we should all be humble enough to know that it's not our will that's being done when we meet our spiritual master, and but it's Krishna's will. And Krishna, if he knows you have a propensity to sing, that you love music, perhaps he will send you a guru who sings and who loves kirtan and holds it as the priority. If you if you happen to love literature or books, or the Prabhupada's books, he will send you, and are brave and courageous enough to become a book distributor, perhaps you'll get a Vaisheshika Prabhu who talks constantly about book distribution. So never swear off the things that the guru is doing that falls in line with your natural propensities. It's when we deny these things, deny our natural propensities, deny, of course, we deny ourselves, but we should use whatever it is that we have. And if your guru happens to facilitate that, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what Ras and Ruchi is all about. You get a taste for it. But I just like to say that because obviously this isn't a cult of personality, but then again, this is a cult of personality with a capital P. So don't be afraid to let personal preferences, somewhat steer your craft, towards that island, which is Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I just wanted to illustrate what Shastra says about approaching a spiritual master. And I appreciate that personal note there, Prabhu. But when we approach the spiritual master when we are attracted to someone for the wrong reasons, then as time goes on, maybe we can lose faith if we're not approaching for the right reasons. That's the point I was trying to make. Any other questions or comments?
There's a question in the chat from Krishnadaya Prabhu. Is guru-disciple relationship eternal? Will this drive one's inspiration from a particular spiritual master? Question.
Well, we see in the Guru Shri Guru Charana Padma prayers that, what's that line? Janme Janme Prabhu say.
He's my Lord,
Right?
birth after birth.
Yeah. He's my Lord, birth after birth. There's your answer. Guru Tattva is a very complex topic. It has a lot of nuances and subtleties. Further than that comment, I can't comment more on that. Will this drive one's inspiration from a particular spiritual master? I'm not sure. There's also a question here. Is doing a Zoom meeting or talking to Guru on WhatsApp, are those Vapu or Vani? I mean, if you're talking to them personally on the other side of the Zoom meeting, I would say that's Vapu. I mean, there's Vapu and Vani, right? So they might be speaking to you and giving you instructions. That's their Vani, but if you're with them personally, then that's Vapu.
Thank you, Namarasa Prabhu. Any further comments, questions? Please take advantage of Namarasa Prabhu's association. So,
I'm in the shower like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Prabhuji, that being the best disciple for the guru is the challenging part for me. But also, I just feel that I need to come to that level of not only understanding but preparedness in order to really move forward. So that's the challenging part, and that's where the association always really helps.
Oh yeah, Sadhu Sangha is everything. Sadhu Sangha is everything. Without that, we cannot move forward. There's no way.
Absolutely. And then also, just judging the health of Tulsi at home, I guess I can judge how my Krishna consciousness is going. But that's all, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Karen,
Thank you,
Karen has raised her hand. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. This is my first time joining live. I listen on YouTube. I'm in Switzerland, and
cool. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you. So this is just, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous. I'm always nervous to ask questions. So,
don't be nervous. This is a very open forum.
Okay. Thank you. So my journey began at the Bhakti Center. I sort of stumbled into a kirtan and I just couldn't leave, even though I had somewhere to be. And that was like 12 or 13 years ago. And I've been kind of lurking around Bhakti for a while and not really diving in until I feel like this year I'm trying to dive in. I just had a lot of complications in my life and it sort of drew me back in. And I'm in Switzerland. I go to a temple here. It's not, I'm still trying to find connection there. But my thing that really sucked me in was when I was in New York and I would see Radhanath Swami at the Bhakti Center, and I did a retreat in the Bahamas with him and like Gauravani, and I just felt kind of swept off my feet by him and his talking or his teachings and readings and everything. And I feel like I still have no clue how to enter into any of this. And if he's even like initiating people, like how do I don't know exactly how to clarify my question, but I kind of would like to have a spiritual mastership from him, but I prefer, I mean, I need like a spiritual mentor in the interim. And I don't know, is that like a endeavor that is so far-fetched?
No, I think that's a great next step for you to have. I think you can be connected to someone at the Bhakti Center and inquire from them about how to take the next step in your Krishna consciousness. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, now is time for initiation and for taking those vows and things like that. It's not like that. It's you take it gradually. So there's they put in the comments, thank you, Damodar Priya Devidasi, bhakticenter.org/mentorship. So it's important that you start taking the next steps in your Krishna consciousness and start actually, I don't know what your practice is because I don't know, but chanting the holy names, reading the scriptures, associating with devotees, these are the very potent devotional practice that you can perform that don't require you to necessarily to take initiation at this very moment. You can make advancement in the beginning in your spiritual life. And as it says, when the student is ready, the spiritual master will come. There will be all arrangements made for you to take initiation and to take shelter of a spiritual master of your choosing and who's qualified. But I would suggest that you first discuss this with a devotee there reach out to someone. It says here, reach out to Dayal at the Bhakti Center, discuss your situation with him, and simultaneously take shelter of the spiritual activities that Srila Prabhupada, Srila Radhanath Swami, they're preaching. Yeah. Because these are all the teachings are the same. Yeah. The teaching are the same. Chant the holy name in japa and kirtan. Read this Srimad Bhagavatam, attend the classes. These are all things that will lead you to, and as it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna from the heart will illuminate your path and bring you to your next step.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of, I'm chanting, I'm going to the temple on Sundays, and I'm,
Wonderful.
I guess I'm kind of, yeah. Okay.
You're on the right course.
And no
thank
black
you so
tea,
much.
Karen. No black tea.
What's that?
No black tea.
No black tea.
Yes, that's very important.
You know that it's my weakness.
And see the links in the chat. There's a bunch of links that are put there. Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Welcome to the family. Okay, anyone else wants to speak? It's 8:01. Adipusha, will you facilitate darshan? We want to be seen by the Lord. We got a haircut for the Lord yesterday, so we'll want to make sure the Lord sees that.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Namarasa Prabhu. Okay. Darshan time. Turn on your cameras if you can. Put on your best look. Yes. Hemangi Martin, Damodar Priya, Jeffrey Eckler Priya. Adipusha.
Not working. Okay.
It's working. We can hear you. Okay. Adipusha Prabhu, thank you for facilitating the darshan. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhus and Matajis, and whoever you are, whoever you identify as. We love you. Good to see you. Ishwari Sundari, Amrita Kishori Didi, Radha Rasika Didi. Who's that gentleman next to you? Radha Rasika.
He's my son. He's just he's ready to go to school, so make a
Hare
point.
Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, what is your name?
Hare Krishna, my name is Govinda.
Govinda, how old are you, Govinda Prabhu?
9.
9. What's 10 plus 2?
12.
Good. Wonderful. Okay. Good seeing everybody. Have a wonderful day. Sundaranandaji, good to see you. Say hi to Shaman Balaram from me. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.